Okay, so this will be our introduction to what's called analytic trigonometry, which is the algebra of the trigonometric functions. So the best place to start when you're doing that is to understand how every trig function can be written in terms of sine and cosine, okay? So this video will be pretty short. We're just going to reintroduce the 6 trig functions in terms of sine and cosine. So of course you have sine of x and cosine of x. Those are in terms of sine and cosine already. But then you've also got the reciprocals of those. So you've got the cosecant of the same angle x. You calculate the output of that by doing 1 over the sine of the angle x. And similarly, secant of x, because it's the reciprocal of cosine, is calculated as 1 divided by the cosine of the same angle x, which leaves us to look at tangent and cotangent. Well, so let's investigate for a moment. Let's look at the ratio of sine of x over cosine of x. Let's investigate that ratio for a moment. No particular reason other than to get us what we want to see in this video. So sine of an angle x is calculated as the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So sine of x is opposite side over hypotenuse. Cosine of the same angle is calculated as the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. Okay? And so when you simplify this complex fraction, right, the way to do that is to take the top, opposite over hypotenuse, and right now we're dividing by adjacent over hypotenuse. So instead we're going to change it to multiplication by the reciprocal of this green fraction, hypotenuse over adjacent. Okay? Dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. And then when you multiply straight across on the top and on the bottom, the hypotenuse is common, so you can cancel that. And so this simplifies to opposite over adjacent, which we know and hopefully remember as the tangent of the same angle that we started with, x. So what's the conclusion here? That tangent of x is equal to the sine of x over the cosine of x. So tangent of an angle x can be rewritten as the sine of that same angle x divided by the cosine of said angle. And now we know how to write tangent in terms of sine and cosine. So we can come back up here and add that to our list. So tangent of an angle is sine of that angle over cosine of that angle. And because cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, cotangent of x will be cosine of x over sine of x. And so when you're looking at the algebra of trigonometry, these facts are useful to know. Because if you can simplify the trig functions down to the 2 simplest trig functions, your life may be easier sometimes. And that's all there is to writing the 6 trig functions in terms of sine and cosine.